Hi everybody, this is the baseball head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host. Welcome back to the baseball head. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So this channel is being very busy here. We did not take a vacation. I did not take a vacation on this channel for you. I'm going to keep doing content for you as much as I can. And of course, all the other channels are taking a break. I am not taking a break. There's still stuff to talk about. And I know you're chomping at the bit to get the season back on track, and everybody's season's back on track as they're in the All-Star break. I know Wednesday people are going to be climbing the walls. Wednesday and Thursday, including myself, are going to be climbing the walls for baseball and in particular the Mets content. So and I also would mention if you're on X and if you're on if you aren't on X and you aren't on Facebook, hit the subscribe button so you know what's going on with the Mets. And I'll give it to you in droves. I love talking about it. I can't give it enough to you. It's from SI.com. There's a lot of different trade rumors going around and trade proposals. I did a trade proposal on Showman I with the Guardians. It's a pretty good one here involving the Cincinnati Reds. Headline from SI.com. Mets should trade bounce back starter to National League club for rental relievers. New York Mets should use this rejuvenated star as a trade chip to acquire relief help from this National League club. Okay, let's see what this article has to say. This is a hypothetical scenario where two National League wildcard contenders could help each other out at the trade deadline. New York Mets desperately need relief help, and the Cincinnati Reds could use another starter in the banged-up rotation. So why not send bounce-back righty Luis Severino to the Reds in exchange for one or two rental relievers? The Mets currently sit in the National League's third wildcard spot, a game ahead of the San Diego Padres and Arizona Diamondbacks. They're just a half game back at the Cardinals for the second position, 4.5 games back at the Atlanta Braves for the top slot. Their offense and starting rotation have been areas of strength since late May, and ace Kodai Senga is nearing a return from the injury list. This means they can afford to part ways with Severino, whose contract expires after the season. Now, a couple of things about Severino. The innings pitch that he's thrown is the third highest that he's thrown in his career, which is interesting of note because he has not pitched over that many innings since 2018. He pitched, I guess, 180 innings or something like that, and 180 or 190 innings in 2018, 19, whatever. It's been a long time since he's really been a regular contributor to a rotation, so he's getting awfully close to that edge. Just to point that out. The Reds, on the other hand, are 3 games behind the Mets and have a slew of productive veteran relievers that will become free agents this winter. As Sports Illustrated reported last week, the crosstown rival New York Yankees have been persistently pursuing multiple Reds relievers, and Cincinnati had scouts in Tampa from July 9th to the 11th, watching the Bronx Bombers take on the Rays at Tropicana Field. This would indicate that the Reds are looking for Major League talent in return. Veteran righty duo Buck Farmer and Lucas Sims are 2 names that would make sense for the Mets, who could be looking to add several relief arms that will shore up their struggling bullpen. Both hurlers will be free agents after the season, and so will Severino. I have talked a lot about this. The Mets could use, I think they brought in one of the relievers that I thought that they could use, and that was Phil Maton. But I talked about a lot about bringing in a setup man and bringing in a lefty reliever, because those are 2 things the Mets desperately need. I mean, the Mets do not have a lefty. Jake Diekman is a deke. He's terrible. I'll say it again. He's a deke. You can figure that out. You can figure out what that means. The way he pitches. Gets ahead in the count, can't put a batter away, then he walks the son of a bitch. He's a deke. And Mets really don't have a setup man other than Daniel Nunez. And I think it's a little unfair for a young guy to have all that responsibility dumped on him, and especially since the Mets have struggled to get Edwin Diaz right. Obviously, with this knee injury that he had last year, it's taken him a little time to get warmed up and ready. But the article continues. Starting pitching is typically costly at the deadline every year, making it a realistic possibility for the Mets to receive at least 2 reliefs from Cincinnati if a trade of this caliber will come to fruition. President of Baseball Operations David Stearns revealed that the Mets' default stance will be a 6-man rotation upon Senga's return following the All-Star break. But this strategy is difficult to envision given the fact that New York would have to shorten their already rough bullpen. Without Severino, the Mets would still have a strong five-man rotation of Senga, Christian Scott, Sean Manaea, David Peterson, and Jose Quintana. Tyler McGill, Jose Butto, and or Adrian Hauser can fill in if a starter were to suffer an injury. Top prospect Brandon Sprout has also been electric in Double-A Binghamton this year. I would be very, very careful with him. I know that he's pitched in really big games. He pitched in the College World Series for Florida against LSU in the same series that Paul Skeens had pitched in. But I would be very careful. I don't know if he has an innings limit on him. I'm sure he pitched a lot in college because he was a 4-year college player, and he went back to last year to pitch for his team, pitch for his school. But I don't know what his pitch count is, what his pitch limit is. So I'd be very, very careful. Be very, very careful with him. To be honest with you. The article finishes up. The Mets acquired righty reliever Phil Maton from the Rays last week. It's a start, but there is still more work to be done if they want to solidify a spot in the postseason. Reds seem like a perfect trade partner, and as solid as Severino has been for the Mets this year, he's dependable due to their rotation. He's expendable due to their rotation depth. And I would also say that I don't expect him to be back next year. That I will say, just due to the fact I think there are better options on the market. I mean, Corbin Burns is starting the All-Star game. Who started the All-Star game? He's going to be on the market. He knows David Stearns. The Mets need a legitimate guy at the top of the rotation, and that would certainly smooth things out with everybody else. And he's been healthy in his career. So he's a better option. Walker Buehler is a better option. So you have really good options there that are actually better than Severino. Severino's at his best as a number 2 starter. Also, his strikeout rate has gone down this year. He was in the high 8s per 9 inning. With strikeouts, it's been in the 6s. So every 9 innings, he's striking out 6. It's not very high in terms of today's baseball. Today's baseball, you want the guys to be able to strike out 1 batter per 9 innings. He's not doing that. That rate is down. That means he's pitching to more contact. Now, how will he pitch if he's pitching, say, in Great American Ballpark? Because that's the park that the Reds play in. How well would he pitch there? And that's a bandbox. And he's giving up more contact. That would be the Reds' problem. But I'm just saying, in this instance, what would the Reds be interested in him in particular? Ergo, same thing with Jose Quintana, who's a fly ball pitcher. Would they be interested in him? I would mention that Quintana is more expendable, in my view, for this year because he's left-handed, and the Mets have 3 lefties in the rotation. And very few teams have 3 lefties in the rotation, and that is a very unusual thing for the Mets to have with this group. They have Severino, Manaea, Quintana, David Peterson, and Christian Scott currently in the rotation. So that is very unusual for a team to have 3 starters. There have been years the Mets didn't have any left-handed starters, and the Mets have 3 this year. So one of the lefties would be expendable. In all likelihood, it would be Quintana because Quintana is bounced around. He doesn't have a contract for next year. To me, that seems to be the most obvious guy to go in a trade scenario. As opposed to, say, Manaea, who's got a contract for next year. It's a matter of picking up the option for him or for the Mets. And Severino, who's right-handed. He's pitched in really big games. He's pitched in New York in really big games. Those are things you can't quantify. Now, he does have I would wonder if he has an innings limit. If they have one for him. And I also would think that with the 6-man rotation, they want to sort of take the pedal off the metal with him a little bit. Same thing with Christian Scott. So let's have a lot of sort of juggling balls. They're doing a lot of juggling, trying to figure out how to manage this. They've done a great job so far with this group, particularly with the starters. But they have to sort of see if it's worth moving one of them to improve an area of need. But we'll see. Obviously, In 2 weeks, we're going to have the trade deadline on July 30th. And that's going to be a lot of fun. But it'll be interesting to see how the Mets address their needs, because they have some needs and a new need that's popped up, and that's what a corner outfield bat. But thank you for watching this video. And of course, if you're not on X and you're not on Facebook, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, because you'll get everything that you could possibly get about the New York Mets and in Major League Baseball. And of course, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.